We had to take a break a while back.
Oh, I guess we did.
Ooh. Where's now?
Yeah, rewind. Okay, so the GL template, I'll say this for the purpose of them, is at every module but master data, but it's different. So in inventory, it's going to give you access to inventory tables, whereas in purchasing, it might not, or sales, or fixed assets. So what I did here was I went into, like, oh, let's go into the this one over here. See, in purchasing, I'm in the transactions template. I'm just opening up the purchasing transactions template. See, this is just loading the view. And when I come here to the columns, there's the 4101. Okay, it's there. Okay. One of the things you can do is when I've got the FO911, the GL transactions table, all my journal entries and whatever else I've got to it, I want to link to the one that's got the item master. So the item master has a number of different fields. It's got the item number, it's got the long item number, it's got a number of different fields I can use to get this record. But I've got to say, where do I get this from in the 911? What do I use to get here? What am I using for long item number? And so what J.D. Edwards does, they do some screwy things. So they put the long item number in the remarks field in the 911. So GLEXR, they're actually putting the item number in there. So in our product,
it's a long item number.
The long item.
And you use that? You use the long item?
Yeah, but he's got an extra step in this. I just basically used the GLEXR and then told it to go to the F4101 and pull the two descriptions, and the descriptions were blank when I ran it.
Okay, the reason it was blank when you ran it is when you open this by default, okay, see I'm in the configurator tab. In the configurator tab, there's this button that says alternate joins. And joins tells you how the tables are linked together. Here's 4101. The default said to take the item number from the 4101 and the subledger from the 4101 and go get those items. But those in your example didn't have anything populated there for your inventory adjustments. So what I did was I chose the second option, long item number and EXR.
That's the bit I wasn't aware of.
And so you can...
Now it's got a link.
Now it's got a link.
Yeah, see, with mine, it didn't have it just got lost. It just didn't have a link.
Mm-hmm.
So once it's over there, then you can pull...
Right, so once it's over here, see, I'm getting the second item number, I'm getting the descriptions, anything now that's in the 4101 table, I can go get it.
That was in configurator?
In configurator, under alternate joins.
All right.
Okay. Any questions? So incidentally, Daniel, one of the things we talked about when you were out of the room is, do you get invitations for webinars?
I do.
You do?
I should probably forward them on to everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were talking
Sorry,
about.
I try to keep it to myself. I don't let you guys know about these things.
We'll just have to keep coming to you if you don't keep running off.
Do we, they can get their own sign up for that though, right, based on the...
Yeah, what we have to do is, you know what we ought to do? We ought to get you to give me the
mailing distribution.
The distribution. Can I email to the distribution list?
You should be able to.
So if I send something to
And RRT.
RRT at
I have
National
there is
Oil,
one. I just don't know if I don't know if it actually has an email address. See if I can pull it up.
you can do a test. If that'll work, what I'll do is I'll set up your distribution list as a user in our support software, and then we'll send that distribution list.
RRT-allusers@NOV.com.
Okay, just send us an email and ask us to set that up as a user that gets invited to the webinars. That'll go out.
Do.
Okay. So we got one more major topic, and then we'll probably be done for the day. So the major topic is, I'm going to go to GL balances again. And the major topic is hierarchies. So hierarchy is, so far we've done a lot with the columns in the report. But sometimes you have the rows in the report, you want the rows to appear a specific way, roll up a certain way, like in a balance sheet or an income statement or an operational statement or something like that. So the way we do that is we use a feature called a hierarchy. And so the easiest way for you to understand the concept of a hierarchy is for me to bring one in and let you see what it looks like. So in inquiry objects, there's a button here that says hierarchy. We have two options, new and import. So I'm going to show you how to create one from scratch using new, but to get the concept, I'm going to import one. I'm going to press the next button. We have three different types of hierarchies that we can import. I've got level of detail, business unit structure, and style. So the style is going to take all of the business units, you know, that are job costs, all the business units that are BS for balance sheet. And based upon the style, it's going to have one level that says BS for balance sheet, and all the balance sheets will be underneath here. I'm going to use this first one here that says level of detail. And then give me, Chris, what was that? Was it 57, 11,000? 50, what was it?
That's the business unit? 5211.
52, 11,000.
But it's only got transactions from September. It's Conroe, basically.
Okay, I'm interested in the accounts, what I want to see.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to put a business unit in, and when I do next, finish, and if I edit it, you can see what that business unit looks like from a general ledger perspective. So from a general ledger perspective, see, here's what it looks like. So I've got 1,100, 1,400 inventory. It has finished goods. Finished goods has these various accounts underneath it. So I can run a general ledger report, and it will roll up into these categories. And it comes right from the structure from your business unit. Does that make sense? You've got one here that says revenues customer. So if I open that up, it's got revenues customer. It's got all these different types of customer revenues underneath it. We did the one with the balance sheet. It would have assets, current assets, that type of thing. So I'll remove this one, and I'll import a balance sheet example.
How are you able to import that?
Okay.
I'm at the hierarchy,
Okay.
and mine is grayed out.
Did you press import?
It's grayed out.
Import is grayed out.
I can press new, I can press grid option.
Here. Anybody else is grayed out?
Yeah.
I didn't have to put any data on my report, right?
Okay. Are you in
transaction.
GL balances?
Oh, sorry, my bad. My bad.
You want to do new GL balance?
GL balance.
Does that work that time? So I just selected the first one, account level of detail. And you said the balance sheet was what, 1010? What was the balance sheet? What's the balance sheet business unit?
Like, just a business unit in general?
That has a balance sheet.
The one we just talked about a second ago? 521, 1,000?
521, 1,000. Okay. So I'm just going to do next, finish. I want to edit it. Let's see, balance sheet. There we go. So, well, yeah, there's inventories, property, plant, and equipment. I was expecting to see like cash and bank, but it's got a bunch of that income statement stuff in it. But anyway, that's the structure that's there. So if you pulled up the account in that business unit, this would be what they look like.
a lot of income statement stuff on there, not a lot of balance sheet stuff.
Mhm.
I'm surprised to see, maybe I just picked the wrong one, I don't know, but be surprised to see that much in there, would it usually just be,
Well, usually you have a balance sheet, business unit is for balance sheet or it's for income statement. Sometimes you'll see for both, but not very
I'm
often.
not really sure what a balance.
The balance sheet will have the same number as the company. So if you have a company 10,000, you'll have a balance sheet 10,000.
We have 1,001 would be the company number.
Okay, so I'll take this and remove it. I'll do import again, next, and 1,001.
Business unit?
Yeah, try that.
There we go.
Okay.
Cash, accounts receivable, inventory, intercompany.
There's a hurricane.
Just go through the same thing you did before, but put in 1,001. So we just did import, and then you press next, put in 1,001, and then do next 2 or 3 more times, as many times as you got to do to get past it, and then press the edit button. Does that work for you?
That level of detail,
Yeah, level of detail.
is okay?
Yeah, just keep pressing OK. When you get to the business unit where it says base, just type in 1,001. And other than that, just keep pressing next and OK till you get through the thing.
I got lost somewhere.
Okay.
And it's here. Okay, never.
So what that does is it brings in the structure, how things roll up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can create our own node. So remember we did our income statement earlier, and we had those specific accounts? We can do that here. So I'm going to point to this thing and remove it. And we're going to do one from scratch. So everybody, let me know when you're ready to start. So I'm going to press the new button, and we got to give it a name. So I'm going to call it INCOMESTATE, income statement. And last time we used the object account. Remember we said this range is revenues, this range is cost of sales. I'm just going to move over object account. If you think about it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to control the rows in the report. And the first row is going to be revenues, and I'm going to tell it what makes up revenues. So I need to be able to filter by something to tell it what makes up revenues, and I'm going to filter by object account. If I wanted to filter by object account and subsidiary, I would add both of them. If I wanted to filter by company or business unit or anything else, I would add it. So it's basically on one line, what do you want to filter by? So in this case, I'm going to filter by object account because we're going to put those specific object accounts in. Okay. So from here, I just press OK. And now we got this top level that says income statement. Point to the top level.
Yes, new object account title.
Okay. Well, just what you want to do is when you press new, right here in the top left-hand corner where it says name, type in income statement. And then add over object account. So right here, you just got to put the name you want to see. Okay, so if we want to bring in the accounts for revenues, I'm going to come here, I'm going to right mouse click, I'm going to say new, and the first, I'm going to have a label, that's just, like I said, a label. So I'm going to show you one way to do this. So we're going to type in revenues, the drop where it says when balance, I want you to drop it down and say always. So when you brought it up, it said label automatically. Leave it to say label. In the name, I'll put revenues. In the display, I said always, and I'm going to click OK. What I've created is like a subtitle that says revenues. So if I want, I can come in here and put in those specific accounts that make up revenues. So I'm going to right mouse click here and do right mouse and click on the revenues number that I just created, and I'm going to do new. So you see the drop down this time, instead of saying label, it says normal. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in revenue. I'm going to say revenue details. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this always, and give me those object accounts again that make up revenues.
4051. 4061. 5776. 5779.
I just put that list in there separated by commas. And in the drop down next to it, I want to say expanded. So I right mouse clicked on the word revenues. I selected new entry. The type is normal. In the description, I put in revenue details. Display as always. In the object account filter, I've got 4051, comma, 4061, comma, 5776, comma, 5779. And the drop down just to the right of that, I've chosen expanded. What this can do is it can list every one of those individually. I could choose to list them individually. I could choose to sum them all up and put them on one line, or I can choose to do both. So now I'm going to click OK, and we're going to see how it works. Is everybody ready? I'm going to click OK, and OK. So with a hierarchy, I want to primarily include the item I'm filtering by. So I want to get rid of company, business unit, subsidiary, and description. Incidentally, on a hierarchy, you never include description because the hierarchy includes its own description. So I got rid of everything but object account. I'm going to go into the Design tab. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm sorting by object. So I'm going to Column Sorting and Grouping. Got the object account included. In Sort, I'm making sure that says Ascending, so it is sorted. If that looks okay, I now have to choose to use the hierarchy. The way I do that, on the right-hand side, the third filter, says Grid Hierarchy. I will drop that down and select the hierarchy I created. Mine's called Income Statement. You're going to get a pop-up that says, I'm a hierarchy, I don't like to use subtotals. And you tell it, that's fine, I'll turn off the subtotals. You answered yes to that question. So we need a business unit that's got revenues in it. What's a business unit that has revenues in it?
521, 7146.
521, 7146? Okay. And I'm going to press F5 to run. And so what it does, it gives me each of those accounts and the revenue total. I can point to here to get my code and description, and then I got to do that thing to make it show up. So I'm going to do home. You ever know what to do under inquiry objects? Choose inquiry objects and advanced. And I'm going to make sure that object account description says exact. So it's giving me each of those accounts with all the different descriptions and then a total. Okay, so let's go. Let me show you one more thing, a couple more things. Going back to inquiry objects, I'm going to go to hierarchies. See this button down here that says parent first? I'm going to check that box that says parent first. Right here. Y'all see how I got here? Just I went into inquiry objects tab, press the hierarchies button. Right above OK, there's a place that says parent first. I put the check mark in there. When I press OK and rerun it, what it does is it puts the revenues at the top and all the children underneath it. See that? Remember the revenues total was at the bottom before. Now I'm putting it at the top.
Can you do that again?
Sure. I'm in the hierarchy dialog, and right here there's a check mark above the OK button. So you just want to check that box and say OK and rerun it. What that does is it puts the header at the top instead of the bottom. Okay, now, y'all got that? So here's a really cool feature. Go back into hierarchies, and there's a button that says grid options. And then you're there. The grid options. Click on grid options and check the box that says enable under expand collapse. And then we're just going to press, see how check this box? See I got there, press grid options, check the box, OK, and OK. Now when I rerun it, I get my revenue number, and if I press the plus sign, I get the details that make up the revenue number.
I get a plus.
I want to show them real quick, before everybody leaves, I want to show them how to copy multiple values and paste it into a cell.
Okay, go ahead.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'll do two more things and then I'll be done. Okay, so I'm gonna do, I think cost of sales is only, we'll do a cost of sales one and we'll do a gross margin. Is your plus mark, sign work? Okay, you come here to design. Do you have totals checked?
No.
They should not be checked.
They're not.
Okay, if you go to, over here on the right-hand side where it says grid hierarchy, do you have the box checked that says income statement?
Yep.
Okay, let's see.
Did I lose it?
Why your section time?
It'll do that. I don't know.
You know we've been working on it?
Yeah. And we've been on the, we've been on the RA remote server.
Okay.
I get my office.
Restore your connection on those. You don't need to have an RA for your own page.
Oh, I didn't, never knew that. So let's say I might grow the boat. In their wall, but what if it's wall that's like this? Okay, so this one, when we were setting up this one today, that one was, didn't need to go that way. Okay, sorry.
Okay?
That's where you said you're like, maybe they go to the horse and the log guy.
Okay, well, there it is, that's fine.
We had an offsite.
Okay, it'd be different. So because I had that in there, well,
Yeah.
connecting the script on her. Yeah, and I forgot about it.
So do the plus sign and the detail.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do two more things when we done. We're gonna add a cost of sales, and we'll add a gross margin. So grid. Grid going on. Okay, so to add the cost of sales, go to the Inquiry Objects tab, select Hierarchies button. When it comes up, eventually, we're going to press Edit. Okay, so if I want to add, you call it cost of goods sold, didn't you? Okay, so I'm going to point to the very top level, because when I right mouse click and say add, whatever I'm pointing to becomes the parent of the thing I'm adding. We call it a node. So if I pointed to revenues, it would add it to revenues. I don't want it to add it to revenues. I want it to add it to income statement. So I'm pointing to income statement, right mouse click and saying new entry. And that's where I'm doing COGS. Use the drop down to say always. So I got a label entry, the name is COGS, the display is always. And when you say okay, it should add at the same level as revenue. So now we're going to add in the details for COGS, which is right mouse click on COGS, new entry. This time it's normal, a normal entry. And we're going to say always. And what was it, 5015, or what was the number for COGS? 5051, okay. And so we don't need to say details because they only got one number. So I got a normal entry, the display is always, the object account is 5051. I'm going to click OK. Okay, so I'm going to do a gross margin number. Everybody okay with that so far? Okay, I'm going to point to income statement, right mouse click new. This time, instead of label, I'm going to drop this down and include calculated item. I'm going to choose calculated item. See what I got there? I've pointed to income statement, right mouse click, new entry, use the drop down to select the third option. So it says choose the type as calculated entry. The name here, I'm going to say gross margin. I'm going to change it to say always in the display. And now if you're ready, we're going to click the define button. Okay, I have to do define again. Now all I got to do is take revenue, double click, and do a plus sign, and double click on COGS. See how I did that? See what I got there? Let me do it again.
Yeah, I'm there.
Anybody need me to do it again? Okay. So here I'm just going to do okay, 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 okay,
Okay.
and rerun it.
All right.
There we go. So we got a revenue, a cost of sales, and a gross margin. And if you want to see the details, you just press the plus sign, and it gives you the details. So the next thing, too, is the only thing I can think of left is formatting. So we might want to format these revenues again to be positive. So they have a special in the formatting tab. There's a special formatting just for hierarchies. So if we press the tab that says formatting, and we press the button that says hierarchies, we want to take this revenue number, and we want to spin the sign on it, right? So y'all see what I got here? So I'm just going to I'm pointing to revenues at the top. I'm going to do new. And all I'm going to do is, under general, I'm going to check the box and I'm going to check the box that says reverse sign. So I just checked the box so I could check reverse sign. And I'm going to do OK. Okay, we're going to do the second. You can apply it, but we're going to do the next one. We're going to do the second. We're going to do the details for revenues because we want those to show up as positives too, right?
Okay.
So we're going to take the second one, the childhood revenues. We're going to do new again. Check the box that says override inherited formats. And now we can choose reverse signs again. And click OK. Now COGS is coming up the way we want it to. But if you look over here, our gross margin looks kind of puny. It's not bolded like the other one. So I'd like it to be bold and maybe have a background and maybe have a line above it or something. Let's point to gross margin, do a new. So if I just want it to be bold and that type of thing, I don't need to mess with the general tab. I'm just going to go right to appearances, second tab. See where I am? I'm going to go to fonts and say bold. Do OK. And then we can give it a background color like we've done before where it says back color. Go ahead and give it another color like blue or something. And if we want at the top, right here, but this is really cool. If you're watching this, it says hierarchy. Okay, so I got my bold and I got my blue color at the back, right? Okay, what I'm going to do is I've got the whole thing blue, but I only want the underline to go above the numbers. So when I do border, I'm going to do top and select a border. But look at this little thing that says values only. I'm going to show you it two ways. So just watch my screen. So do the borders. You can go ahead and do the top thing. But after that, just watch me do it. So I'm going to do OK, OK, and when I run it, okay, there we go. So see, I got the underline. See, the underline goes all the way across. Well, sometimes you want the underlines to go just above the numbers, but you don't want them to go above the words. Okay? So to get that look and feel, I go back to hierarchies and back right where you are, and all I do is check this box. It says values only. If I do that, when I click OK, the line just goes just above the numbers, not above the words.
Amazing. Beautiful. Now we're going to remember this tomorrow. No, of course not. We would just pop up and play with it. Yeah. Well,
Definitely, to be honest, since I don't work in the financial side that much, Deborah McGrew is the guru for this.
Oh, yeah. We know her. She's my buddy. We know her well.
So, considering
She's it.
Emperor, you're calling me all the time on these for talking to her in the most, because she'll be the one to know.
So,
she's the guru. She'll
She is the queen. She's the queen. Do not get on her bad side. You want to love her. You do.
she's a sweetie. Okay. Any questions? I think y'all have gotten enough information. We're scheduled to go to 5, but I don't think we need to do that.
First thing, I do want to show them one
you want to
trick.
yourself. Not that.
I had mentioned earlier to you that you can leave. Yeah.
Come on.
Okay.
Record that as well.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier that you can paste in a bunch of values. So if you had a list of business units or a list of part numbers, you could paste them in. Now I don't currently have JDE open on this screen, so I'm going to actually go in and log into JDE and grab a list just so I can have a list of something to put in here. Bear with me a second. Have you guys thought this class has been beneficial?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, great. Good to hear that emphatic yes.
Because even doing it like through NetLive, I know personally, going through NetLive is okay. Being here in person to say what you do.
Sure.
It's so beneficial.
And we think Lee did a good job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, it's worth listening to voice. I'm going to be having some more trainings come up though, like maybe February.
We're going to have, I am recording it, yes. This is all going to be pasted on SharePoint.
All right.
The other thing is, we are going to have trainings more in January, and then we're going to have more, early January and mid-January. And I think we're going to do some more advanced classes in February. We haven't scheduled those out yet,
Okay.
but the plan is to invite the users who want to come back for more advanced, probably getting into more hierarchies, a little bit more advanced calculations, that kind of stuff, that we'll have them come back. We may split those up by topics. We may have like a hierarchy day. We may split that out a little bit more as opposed to just the same class each day. But right now the goal was to get as many people as we could access to this software, trained on it, so they can at least start running the reports themselves.
Right.
Trying them out. All right. Well, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to put in 1001. I'm going to put in facility. Should be facility, right? I want a long list of business units here so I can make sure I've got the thing we have here. All right, this is a good long list. I'm just gonna export this into Excel so I can pretend that someone came to you and said, I want you to give me, all the information. It could be all the sales, all the inventory, etc., on these business units. And you didn't want to have to go into the filter and type each one of these business units. It could be a list of, you can actually put a list of thousands of lines into one of those filters at the top of really real time. So if it's a list of parts, if you had 1,000 parts you wanted to see inventory on, you didn't want to go in part by part, you want to type it all in, you could actually do that.
Okay.
See, parts may be a better way to do it. This will give you the example.
Yeah, give us the gist.
All right. So the way you have to do is you have to actually get all of these values, how many of them? 37 of them, into one cell with a comma in between each one. That's your goal. Because then you can take that one cell, and you can paste it into the filter. Okay? So that's how we're going to do this. This takes a little bit of Excel formulas, so you'll have to watch carefully. But what we're going to do is, I'm going to go down to the second column and the second row here, where it's got, so this is cell B3, so we have a heading. And I'm going to put this formula in. I'm going to put equals. I'm going to do A2, then an and sign. Now, I'll leave this up there for a second so you can write it down. A quotation mark, comma, quotation mark, an and sign, and A3. So that's the formula you're going to put in the very first cell, and we're putting it in cell B3. So you're going to move over one column from wherever the list is, and one down from the very top of the list. Got that formula in there? If you hit enter, it'll show you, if you can see it there again. So you see what it did, is it took that first value in that first cell, which is this value right here, put a comma after it, and then took the value from the second cell. So I said, once again, give me the value A2, and then an and sign just basically says, add this next part to it. A quotation mark, a comma, a quotation mark, which says actually physically put a comma in, and then put the next value. So you see what it did there?
Yep.
Okay. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take that formula, and I'm just going to copy it down one cell. So the exact same formula appears here, except this time, obviously, since I copied it down a cell, it's looking at A3 and A4. What I wanted to do is to take B3, in other words, take this and append or add this value to it, right? So I want to take these two numbers, have a comma, and then add this value. The way you do that is in the second row here, I'm going to change this A3 to a B3 so that it's actually going to look, where's the delete key? So it's actually going to look at, what it's doing now is it's taking this value and adding a comma to it, so this value and a comma, and then adding the one below it. That makes sense?
Yes.
Kind of, all right. Once you've done that, you can actually double-click right here in the corner and drag that formula all the way down. You'll see how it actually continues row by row as a value. So the very last cell is the one that's going to have every single value all the way across.
Danny, can you save that and email it out to us so we've got the formula in there we can play about? It'll give us a...
There's a lot of people in this room, a lot of emails.
Yeah. Well, can you put it on SharePoint?
I can try. So, all this is, all you're doing is,
where's my camera?
the term is concatenating. So you're concatenating by adding these two values to one cell, then saying, okay, now take that, add this value to it, and then on down the row. So you
How
have,
do you get it to copy to all 39?
what I did was, I've got these two formulas. You move your cursor until it looks like a little plus sign in the bottom corner of that. Double click, and it drags the formula all the way down.
Is it down to the bottom or just to 37?
Just as far down as you have text.
Wow, that's cool.
So then what I'm going to do to put it into really real time, I'm going to Control-C, copy that value, that cell right there. And then I'm going to move over here to one of my queries. I'm just going to pick one that has business unit filter, because that's what we're going on here. And I'm just going to hit Control-V. And it will paste them all in. Now, I don't know why it does this, but right now, if I were just to move to the next cell, it'll error out and indicate that there's a value that's wrong.
Right.
For some reason, when you take a cell like this and paste it into Excel, or into really real time, you don't see it, but there's actually two characters at the very end of that string. You just hit backspace twice and move out, it'll take it. I don't know why. You can't see that they're there. It's stupid. But if you copy and paste that in, I'm at the very end. You can see that there's nothing at the end of this 9149. But if I backspace twice, they'll take it. And then it's got every single business unit there that I have on my list.
You didn't special value formula? Would that take away
You can't pay special in here.
No, I know. Right,
In Excel before you
paste the value.
We can try.
Copy it, paste it below it.
I'll paste the value. So this is just a value now.
Yeah, just the value.
It shouldn't matter, I don't think, but I'll try it. It still doesn't. It's just whenever you paste from Excel into this, there's two characters that are invisible that are at the very end of the row. If you backspace off of it, they're all there now. So that's very valuable if someone says, here's a list of 10,000 parts. Give me all the inventory on those. You don't want to have to go part by part or,
Awesome.
So, and you can put a lot of values in here. Now, if you put 3,000 or 4,000 values in here and you try to run it, it could run out of memory because it's a lot of values. You may have to break it up by, list. I mean, it can hold thousands. It can. But
You've got a big report, you don't want to do that.
I mean, if it's like 5,000 inch lines or 5,000 part numbers, and you try to run it, it may run out of memory on you. So but you could just, at that point, you could just break it into two, do it twice.
That's cool.
That's all you got to do. Make sure you have it in a row here in Excel. Go down one from the first number. Put the formula in that says equals A2, an and sign, quotation, comma, quotation, A3, and then go copy that formula down one, and then change that A3 to a B3, and then drag that all the way down to the bottom.
Awesome.
So that's good to know. I'll send out, try to send this out to everybody via email before I leave. Any other questions? Things you want to do really quickly? Any concerns, problems, things you want to see? Now's your chance. You've got a paid expert here. Okay, so this one is and equals A2, and sign, quotation, comma, quotation, and sign A3. Right below it, it is B3, and sign, quotation, comma, quotation, and sign A4. So if you look at what the values are, it's taking this cell and adding a comma, then adding that to it. Then this one does, then the one below does the exact same thing. Takes a cell above it, adds this one to it. Cell above it, adds this one to it. That's why you have to go drag it all the way down to the very bottom so that it has the entire list. Those of you at Air Center that are concerned about how to do this, I'm pretty sure Munib can show you how. If you get lost.
Show him now.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Good answer. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
From earlier. You know, we can only state 5 reports in our topic, and you had to save 2 more. I lost one that I need back. How do I get back?
In your recent reports, it only shows 5 reports. Is that
Yeah, the
right?
recent only shows 5, but you can do as many as you, we can do 20, 50, 1,000.
If you
It just
save-
shows, it just drops off after 5.
If you've saved one already, we can go up here and go. Let me go back into the real time here. If you're in here and you can go to open, and you can go to my inquiries, and you should see all the reports you've created.
Appreciate it.
Show me where it was. Okay, we're going there. Yeah. No others.
We have a report called Dec. We saw that.
All right, well, if no one else has any other
Yeah.
different questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
You have the admin tool open here, Danny?
I do.